What's going on, sports fans? This is Jake Waxman.
And Tyler Lavalette.
Coming to you from the studio here in Waterford with another exciting Friday Roundtable. And as on par with the whole year, we're going to start off with more baseball talk because it's that wonderful time of year, isn't it, Tyler?
That it is. We now have 5 teams in the postseason, I believe so. I think we also have 3 of them now in the American League that have clinched so far. In not 5, I mean, like 8 or 9, if I remember correctly. But regardless, we have the Toronto Blue Jays and the New York Yankees out of the AL East, and the Seattle Mariners, who just won their first AL West title in over 20 years, joining teams like the Dodgers, Phillies, Brewers, Cubs, and the Padres in the National League side. In fact, we even have an NL wild card matchup confirmed: Cubs, Padres at Wrigley Field next Tuesday, Wednesday, and maybe Thursday, depending on how the wild card series goes. It is a best 2 out of 3.
Yep, here we are. The playoff picture is taking shape, and as Tyler mentioned, the Chicago Cubs, they've locked up at least a home series in the first round with the San Diego Padres. Who would have thought they'd be here after kind of the troubling summer stretch they had after the All-Star break? I mean, props to the Cubs for turning things around, just getting back to basics, playing baseball, and as mentioned, they locked up their playoff spot last week, and now we get to watch them play from the friendly confines to start October. It's going to be very, very exciting.
Now, if I remember correctly, the winner of that series will face, I think it's the Brewers. The Dodgers, whoever they will go to the Phillies. The Phillies and the Brewers and the NL side get the bye for the divisional series round. The AL side, I think it's the Blue Jays and the Mariners so far. They have the 2 byes to the ALDS side. All the matchups will be confirmed on Sunday after all the games are done around 7 p.m. since Sunday's games start at 3 p.m. local times.
Oh, here we are. Just for most teams out there, including Tyler's Detroit Tigers, just 3 games left. And I will say this. All right, we know the Cubs are going to be in the playoffs. For the Tigers, this is probably going to, without a doubt, the most critical 3-game stretch on the season.
Absolutely. A 3-game trip into Boston to end the season after a rough 15-game losing streak, which saw them drop significantly against the Braves and other teams, including the Guardians twice. And, in fact, we even lost 2 out of 3 heading to the first 2 games against Cleveland, heading into last night's game. And now we are back tied for the record, but AL Central, however, the Guardians have the tiebreaker due to the series win. Here's how it started off. A Jahmai Jones home run to start the game for the Tigers to help ensure that their losing streak ended last night. Roll clip.
3-2 and demolished. Jahmai Jones deep to left. That's a great
almost hit the Miller Lite can there.
Keyword almost. I'm sure that can prop is taking a few dings over the couple of years or so, give or take.
More or less. But big home run there, and absolute big win for the Tigers. In my Wax On Wednesday vlog 2 days ago, they were the topic of conversation. I usually don't talk a lot about baseball, more or less the Tigers, but oh my goodness, this is a win they desperately needed, and they're going to need all the wins they can get in this 3-game series against Boston because, a couple weeks ago, months ago, we were talking about this Tigers team being, not only a playoff contender, but a World Series contender, and now here they are fighting for their playoff lives. This, to me, I'm just absolutely dumbfounded. I'm still asking the question, and Tigers fans, you probably know way more about this than I do. How did they get here to this point?
Well, not doing much at the trade deadline didn't exactly help, but And really, I can't blame Scott Harris too much because he wanted to be conservative and not go after big splashes and compromise the really good farm system we've had because of the successful teams like West Michigan, the Whitecap. They just won the Midwest League and single A ball. Erie and Toledo did good in their classes of the minor league system, and I don't blame him for that. But a lot of fan frustration was why he didn't make such moves. These on-field performances aren't his fault because the team just tanked. It's just so baffling that how bad it was. Swinging at pitches, giving up these meatballs to players left and right. Even Tarek Skubal had some issues. Spencer Torkelson had issues. Riley Green has been having strikeout problems. It's not been fun. And now I'm just so worried about them potentially missing the playoffs. Now, we have to take 2 from Boston and hope that the Astros don't do good because we have the tiebreaker against the Astros. But losing 5 or 6 against Cleveland didn't help the cause at all. It is embarrassing to be a Tigers fan right now. Yes, we'll be in the playoffs, but no luxury of a first-round bye to speak of.
Yeah. The thing, you know what? I mean, you got a team like the Astros that are hot on their tail right now. Thankfully, the Tigers are ahead of the Astros by a game. And like Tyler said, win at least 2, and you're probably going to be playing postseason baseball. But it just, and you know what? Like Tyler, I'm just baffled how we got here. And you know what? I thought not trying to poke any fun at the Tigers, but I thought my Chicago Cubs had issues up to bat sometimes and swinging in the most awkward ways or trying to hit the ball in ways that just that instead sends it into the gloves of the outfielders rather than on the grass itself. I mean, it's a number of things. It seems to me, from what I can picture, it's like a number of things. Tyler mentioned, that issues up to bat, but also maybe this team coasted a bit too much coming into September. When you're ahead a lot and here's the thing. Tyler always said it. It's a marathon, not a sprint. You can't let up at any one point. You got to keep, swinging away. Mm-hmm. And defense has got to be strong, and as well as your bullpen. Cubs had these struggles back in July, and Tigers also had a moment in July where they struggled and they got things together, and then all of a sudden coming into September, it's, I also kind of wondered, was this a team maybe that peaked a bit too early? I hope I'm wrong about this, and hopefully they not only get in the playoffs, but actually shine in the playoffs. But we'll see. Right now, if I was a Detroit Tigers fan, I would be sweating bullets and not be feeling too comfortable. Like, all right, let's just win 2 games. Let's get in the playoffs. And then, I can breathe a sigh of relief.
Yeah, we'll just have to see what happens against Boston this weekend. Now, granted, this was a team that the Tigers swept back in April when they hosted them in Detroit. So, but even still, this might not necessarily be the same Boston team we easily dispatched back then. You never know what to expect, even if guys like Alex Bregman are having problems or what have you. And I've heard that Bregman might already be leaving Boston already at season's end, so we'll see about that.
Absolutely. And I guess few more things I want to get to. Chemistry is important too, and sometimes I was talking with Grant before me and Tyler came on the air today, and we both are wondering, was chemistry a bit of did the Tigers maybe change out a few too many pieces? Would you think that time that they changed out a few too many things and maybe that disrupted the chemistry, or do you think it's something much different from what we're saying?
Hard to really tell. I mean, I'm not sure if A.J. Hinch's leadership is doing well. I mean, it's not exactly inspiring when you've gone on that 15-game losing streak, mind you. Sometimes,
and when you're in a rut, too, sometimes you need that voice that helps you get out of the rut. That just, says, guys, back to basics. We've been here before. We could do this. All right? Mm-hmm. Just back to what you can do. All right? That's what going into this game this series against Boston, if you're the Tigers, just focus on what you do best. And you know what? The rest will take care of itself. One more thing I'd like to add, just a reminder, For those of you who are still keeping track of the playoffs, here's how the playoff picture looks right now, and correct me if anything. And disclaimer, it probably changed a bit. But in the AL, so Toronto's the number 1 seed, followed by Seattle and Cleveland, who's holding on to the AL Central at the moment via tiebreaker.
Yep.
And then wild cards in the order, the Yankees of New York, the Boston Red Sox hold on to wild card number 2, and then the Detroit Tigers are just hanging on in wild card number 3 in the American League.
That is correct. And so this would likely mean 3 and 6 would play. So Cleveland and Detroit would match up in Cleveland, and 4 and 5 would play each other. Yankees, Red Sox. If I'm thinking it's at Yankee Stadium. That's the AL side.
Yep, that'll be Yankees and Red Sox in the first round. That's popcorn entertainment too. Especially if you're a diehard baseball fan and you respect the history of the game. Yankees and Red Sox. That's right up your alley right there.
Although, hey, Tigers Guardians wouldn't be too shabby after having that last fall.
Yep.
Now, let's go on to the AL side.
Or speaking of the National
AL
League.
side, man.
That's all good. So, Milwaukee, the Brewers, they're holding on to that first seed right now in the NL side of things, followed by the Phillies of Philadelphia. And then at the moment in the NL West, that is being held down by the Los Angeles Dodgers, to the surprise of no one. Wild card number 1, the Chicago Cubs. They've locked up a home series, and they'll play against wild card number 2, the San Diego Padres.
I think they're wild card 3 or something, if I remember correctly.
You could be right. Actually, although the team that is in that final wild card spot at the moment, and kind of in a similar situation to your Detroit Tigers, the New York Mets. They're just hanging in there too. They need to get a couple wins, or they could be on the outside looking in.
Right. The Mets have had a rough situation, but we'll figure out the matchups on Sunday. I'll definitely do a post on the wild card round when all the games are spoken for, regardless.
Yes, indeed. Well, October's almost here. It's almost that time for postseason baseball. A few more things to decide, and you know what? Who says the last 3 games of the regular season can't have drama? Oh, there's going to be some drama. Get ready, baseball fans.
I missed game 163, but I get why they got rid of it.
Yeah, I get
and I say this as someone who remembers game 163 back in 2009.
Oh, man. I remember hearing something about one MLB regular season where it all came down to that last game, and it was just absolutely wild what happened. I don't remember all
2011 was all down to 162, but having the games all at 3:30 instead of just having it spaced out like normal, it just kind of makes it a bit of a buzzkill, but I kind of get why they do it, but even still, we don't have that fun of 2011 anymore.
Yes, indeed. So, next time me and Tyler meet for Friday Roundtable, we'll be talking about, in terms of baseball talk, we'll be talking about the postseason. That's for sure, whatever happens.
Yep, wild card round will have been finished, and we'll have moved on to the divisional series round.
Yep. And while we're on the topic of drama, yeah, there's some drama going on in New York. Maybe not necessarily in baseball talk, but also in football talk. Mm-hmm. So there's a change at the helm for the New York Giants. They're going so. Out comes Russell Wilson, and in comes the rookie, Jackson Dart. Oh, boy. You know what? I look at this, Tyler, and this screams another Mitchell Trubisky situation, if you know what I'm talking about. Your jaw was dropped. That was awesome.
I love doing that. I love it.
Yep.
But jokes aside, it is just wow. I can't really say much, really. Thank goodness I like the Lions. And I'll think that Jake will agree about that of liking the Bears. I am so glad to not like either of New York's professional teams, even though they're playing New Jersey. But even still, they represent the NYC market regardless. But to the point is, things are not good for the Giants. You let the Chiefs finally win. That's embarrassing.
Yeah, you can make the case that the Chiefs really didn't actually win that game on Sunday Night Football. It's more like the Giants just gave him the win. Like, here, have your free win. Let us save your season, for crying out loud. Speaking of, all right, so back to the quarterback change. Okay, I do not like this move for New York. Okay, I know Russell Wilson was having a rough go. I mean, against Dallas, he actually played really well, aside from the one interception he had in overtime, and the other 2 games went really badly. But here's the thing. This New York Giants team was not going anywhere this season. Unfortunately, they are not a good football team right now.
No.
And you know what? Throwing Jackson Dart to the Wolves this early on is not going to work out. And this is why I think of this as a Mitchell Trubisky situation, because I think if Mitchell Trubisky, in terms of like when the Chicago Bears threw him out to the Wolves, if they had given him more time to learn, grow, and develop, given him what he needed in terms of coaching, I think Trubisky could have been, at the very least, a franchise NFL quarterback. If you want a guy like Jackson Dart to have the best chance to succeed, you've got to give him time. Mm-hmm. This is not the right answer. Okay, I know Russell Wilson has had his struggles, but there's a lot that Jackson Dart can learn while Russell Wilson is out there playing football. And then here's what would have been a better idea. Okay? The thing is, once you're eliminated from the playoffs, okay, the G-men are not gonna make the playoffs, okay? They're not gonna make it. The team's just not good enough. If you wait until after you're eliminated to get Jackson Dart some starting reps, that works, all right? Because at that point, Wilson's played a lot of games, and at that point, the Giants will have had nothing to play for. So then get your rookie quarterback in there. They need NFL teams just rush their quarterbacks, and life as an NFL quarterback absolutely sucks because of teams like the Giants who are just like, okay, this is your opportunity. Go out there, earn that job, impress us. It's pretty much how it is these days.
Being a quarterback has to be the fastest oven in the world if we're talking comparing quarterbacks to making cakes.
Ooh, heat is on. Like, literally. Yeah, the heat is on instantly once they get out on the field. And you know what? Another thing, if you start a quarterback too early in his career, when we know he's not ready yet to take on these elite NFL defenses and learn how to read them, it's going to kill his confidence at the very start. I don't want to see this happen to a guy like Jackson Dart. It happened to Mitchell Trubisky. It happened to Justin Fields. And this is speaking experience from a Bears fan. I know what it's like because the Bears have wasted the primes of so many quarterbacks. They've started them way too fast, like when they were still raw, for crying out loud. And now the Giants are repeating history. And you know what? Another thing is, the Giants are probably going to fire Brian Daboll after this season. So that's another reason why it would be wise to not rush Jackson Dart. Because pretty soon you're going to have a new coaching staff and a whole new offense for him to learn anyways. So, by waiting until like the very end of the season to get him some reps, I think that's going to work out for this young rookie from, I believe, Ole Miss, if I'm correct.
Yep, Ole Miss. But unfortunately, the Giants are not taking advice from some modest YouTuber and podcast host in Waterford, Michigan.
Yeah, you know what? Oh, who am I kidding? We're just podcasters. We got opinions, and you know what? The Giants are not obligated to listen to it. I get it. But what I'm just saying is, look, I'm just speaking my opinion because I want what's best for Jackson Dart. I want him to be able to go out there and be successful with the Giants and help get the Giants out of the slump. But the Giants are already making all the wrong, in my opinion, they are making all the wrong moves that is going to kill this quarterback's confidence. And here we go. Cue the derp song again, Mr. Lavalley.
Yeah. It is not fun being a fan of the G-men.
No, indeed. So, and to wrap it up, look. Okay, New York, starting him right out, throwing him to the Wolves right away, it's not a good idea. All right, that's how you hurt a quarterback's confidence. Just ask my Bears. And you know what? You can maybe even ask like teams like the Cleveland Browns who've wasted a number of quarterbacks. The Jets, too. Okay, Jets gonna jet. Come on, Giants, you're not the Jets, all right? Come on. Just slow down, take your time, let this quarterback learn under Russell Wilson, because even as bad as Russell is playing, there is plenty for Jackson Dart to learn from Russell Wilson, who has had success from time to time. And who knows, maybe Russell would have turned it around if you had kept him in there at some point. And then once the playoffs are out of reach for sure, you can pull the plug on Russell Wilson and you can plug in Jackson Dart and see what he can do to end the season. That's what you think about. Kansas City Chiefs are a great example. You know what they did with Patrick Mahomes? They sat him for almost a whole year, and then final game of the regular season when there was nothing left for the Chiefs to gain, they put Patrick Mahomes in, and look how he turned out. Probably, in my opinion, the best, one of the best, if not the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And he's got 3 Super Bowl rings to show for it, and all the swagger in the world. You give Jackson Dart that kind of time, he might just have that swagger, and he may just be your franchise quarterback. But start him too early, and his confidence is going to be destroyed from the very start.
Ouch.
So that's where I'm going to conclude this subject. Come on. Give Jackson Dart some time to learn. Okay? He needs it. There are quarterbacks out there that need time to learn. Jackson Dart, to me, is one of those guys.
I agree. Not just I'm disagreeing with you, but because it's just there's a right way and a wrong way to do it. And what we're seeing is the latter. Not good.
Absolutely. And you know what? If Jackson Dart ends up being a bust in the NFL, blame the New York Giants. They rushed him. Simple as that. It'll just be like, another one. You feel that breeze, Tyler? That cold autumn breeze, my man?
Yeah. Pretty soon we're going to have to be putting our shorts away and going back to wearing sweatshirts.
Oh, yeah, I feel it. I mean, we're nearing October, and baseball's not the only thing that's happening in October. You know what else October brings? Hockey! It's that wonderful time of year. Of course, the preseason has already started for the NHL, but now me and Tyler, we are going to preview both the Redwings and the Blackhawks for this upcoming season and what we hope to see from both of these teams. I'll start off with my Blackhawks. Okay, no question, critical third year under Connor Bedard. Or not the coach, of course, Jeff Blashill, new coach for the Blackhawks. I'm curious to see what he brings to the table. But in terms of the Blackhawks' most critical piece, Connor Bedard, this is a critical third year for him and for this team. And you know what? No more hanging. Okay, we cannot afford to just hang around the very bottom of the NHL. This Blackhawks team has got to take some strides forward this season, or I'm going to really start getting worried about the Blackhawks. I know you Red Wings fans want to see me miserable, especially after, I know, I was spoiled by the Blackhawks dynasty. I get it.
But look, we all would like to be miserable after the 25-year playoff run ended, so we know a thing or two.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? This will be a really critical season for the Detroit Red Wings. What say you, Tyler Lavalette?
That it is. So far, the Iser plan has not produced a playoff run at all. And as great as it was seeing Dan Petrie's son Jeff in the winged wheel, he's now in Florida. And I wish him all the best now on the two-time defending Stanley Cup champion team now. But this team really has to improve under a new leadership with Tom McClellan now at the helm full-time and under Dylan Larkin as captain. We'll just have to see what happens going forward.
Yep.
They have to step it up. No more excuses. At some point, people are going to question if Yzerman still has it as GM.
Detroit's had a lot of good vibes going in sports, whether it's the Tigers, the Lions, and even the Pistons. The Red Wings, not going to say they haven't provided some good vibes, but right now, as Tyler mentioned, or alluding to what Tyler said, Detroit fans are getting impatient, especially with Steve Yzerman's plan. This season, it's postseason or bust. There's no question. They got to, don't care how, they got to make the postseason. They have too much talent on that Red Wings roster not to make the playoffs. You mentioned Dylan Larkin. You also got guys like Moritz Seider who can produce from time to time. These are guys, and there's other guys. You got younger prospects as well. But at some point, look, it's playoffs or bust. You either make the playoffs or it might be time to start thinking about replacing the Yzerman plan.
Yeah, at some point, the Yzer plan is going to have to really be called into question if nothing happens. Look, I'm hopeful they do make a run in the playoffs at some point. It just has to happen soon.
Yep. Red Wings, you see my man Tyler? You see that? That's the face of a man who wants postseason hockey back in Hockey Town.
I want to see LCA have playoff hockey for once. We've had 2 instances of playoff basketball. Why can't we have playoff hockey in downtown Detroit again? Why?
You know what? Question I wondered to myself too, especially like I said with all the talent that's on this Red Wings team. I mean, I know they're in a tough Atlantic division, and I still think this is a team that can make the playoffs. It's just a question of will they get it done this year? That's the big question. You know, and here's the thing. Last season they had great stretches, and then they had stretches where they were just stone cold on ice and lack of goals and whatever else you want to say. The thing is, this Detroit team, they need to work on putting the full season together from start to finish, having equal amounts of momentum from start to finish, you know, a balanced season. If they can do that and they can play hard for the full season, they can make the postseason. The talent's there, you know, coaching staffs, it's all there. It's just a matter of you got to go out there and execute. You got to go do your job. Score some goals, play defense, do the basics for checking, you know? That's what the Red Wings have got to do. Not
to mention doing good on the power play and the penalty kill. Those numbers haven't been pretty. Fix them. Stat.
I'd like to forward that message to my Chicago Blackhawks too, because you know what? Even in the years they were good, they always had some kind of issue on the power play. And you know what? Last year, kind of a same problem. Like decent penalty kill, but the power play just not powerful enough for the Blackhawks. And then again, also a lot of that is also due to goal scoring troubles. The Blackhawks, if you want to improve this year, you got to score more goals. We need goal scorers. The Blackhawks, they're going to have younger pieces in play. I'm just hopeful that these younger pieces can produce more goals, more points, you know, assists, all that stuff needed. The thing is, this Blackhawks team needs offense to improve, and one of the big reasons why the Blackhawks have been stuck at the very bottom of the NHL, the lack of offense. You can't win in this league if you don't score enough goals. They had a few games where they scored more than 3 goals, but if you can hit like the 3-goal mark or more, that's really going to help. So Connor Bedard, I mentioned him. This is a big year for him. And one of the questions I have is he really built to be an NHL center, or would it be more beneficial to move Connor Bedard to wing, left or right wing? I don't care. But the thing is, if Bedard is going to play center, he needs to be better, not only on defense, okay? I'd like to see him improve, but he really needs to be better on the faceoff. Too many times last season, okay? Connor Bedard, fantastic. He led the Blackhawks in points, but he really struggled on defense, and he really struggled on faceoffs. And in order to have an effective center, could find a way to play defense and win faceoffs consistently. And if he can't improve enough on those things, then I think it's beneficial to move him to either left or right wing, and where I think he would be more in his element, because Bedard is always looking to play offense. That's who Connor Bedard is, and if that's the Connor Bedard we're going to get, move him to winger. But if he can improve in the face-off circle and on the defensive end, okay, he can stay as a center. One other guy that I'm going to be keeping my eye out on for the Blackhawks, he's going to be a rookie going into this season, one Oliver Moore by name. He was in the same draft class as Connor Bedard. He also is a center. I'm really curious to see what he brings to the table in what will be his first full season as a member of the Chicago Blackhawks.
Very impressive stuff. I'm honestly not exactly versed on who to expect. I'll try guys like Mo Sider and Lucas Raymond, and of course, got local guys like Alex DeBrincat and Doran Larkin. But even still, and of course, Patrick Kane's going to be coming back. Eventually, though, that guy's going to hang up his skates for good, and I wish him well when it does happen. But like I said, Wings get to the playoffs.
Yeah, and Tyler, I'm going to add on to what Tyler said. Lucas Raymond, another key piece for this Red Wings team, and he mentioned Alex DeBrincat and Patrick Kane, who I'm a big fan of. They were former Blackhawks. I mean, I'm not worried about, if you're a Red Wings fan, you don't need to worry about guys like Dylan Larkin and Alex DeBrincat producing. Those guys, they'll get the job done for you. They're always coming. If you can get, and Moritz Seider, who's absolutely a great player too. If you can get more out of guys from Lucas Raymond, that's going to go a long way also in helping the Red Wings to end that postseason drought too. So Tyler said it. Red Wings get back to the playoffs, and to the Blackhawks, hey, let's see some improvement this year. Work hard, play hard, practice hard. Let's make some strides. I don't expect this Blackhawks team to make the postseason. We're still a ways from that. I want to see improvement, though, or I'm going to have a lot to say in it. You're not going to like it, Chicago.
Oh, and keep improving, because I want that Stanley Cup matchup, gosh darn it.
Is it too much to ask? Can we get, Wings versus Blackhawks Stanley Cup final in the future someday? I mean, and someday can we get Cubs and Tigers in the World Series? That'd be so awesome, too. And it's happened before.
Yeah, that was back in June. That was all touted as a World Series preview. I mean, heck, we wore City Connect jerseys on the Friday night game because we wore our classic home uniforms, and they, of course, obviously wore their classic roads, which was odd because we didn't wear the City Connects, but hey, I wasn't complaining.
Absolutely. And I mean, that game that me and Tyler went to, I was hoping that the Cubs would wear those blue jerseys because those are probably my favorite baseball jerseys, but we got the grays instead, and that's okay. It is what it is.
Yep.
All right. We got just a few more things to cover. I wanted to give a shout-out to Waterford Mott football and Lakeland High School Eagles football. Both of these two teams have started 3-1 on their respective seasons and are looking pretty good. The two sides will play each other on the 17th of this upcoming month, so that'll be a very interesting game between Waterford Mott and Lakeland.
At our alma mater, if I'm not mistaken.
Which is why I had to give them a shout-out, being a Lakeland Eagles
Likewise.
alum. And also, since we're here in Waterford, we might as well talk about Waterford Mott football a little bit. But congrats to both sides on starting the season 3-1. Keep up the good work.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Keep it up.
Good stuff. All right. It is time now for this week's Golden Moment in Sports. Okay, so most of the videos that what I've shown in terms of gold moments have happened on, the field. But who says everything has to happen within a sports-related complex? A golden moment in sports can happen actually almost anywhere, even at an airport. Take a look at this clip right here. So this right here, this young man, his name's Nasir. He was in for the shock of his life when he got to meet, you guessed it, Aiden Hutchinson of the Detroit Lions. And Hutchinson noticed he was wearing his jersey, so what makes this really awesome is Hutchinson went out of his way to say hello to this kid and take a picture with him. Wow. Aiden Hutchinson, he plays for the Lions, but respect to this guy. He is wholesome. The fact that he took time out of his day, let alone at Detroit Metropolitan Wayne County Airport. He took time out of his day to say hello to a fan wearing his jersey and take a picture with him. Just awesome. Wow. You go, Hutch. You go, Big Hutch.
The pride of Plymouth, Michigan. I am so stoked that we get to have him on our team. Hopefully inspiring the next generation of local Lions fans here in Michigan.
Yeah, indeed. And I will close off this subject by saying this. Okay, sports fans, don't you dare, and I mean this, don't you ever dare tell me that nothing exciting ever happens at airports. Because you just never know who you might run into at the airport, let alone DTW.
Absolutely.
All right. Sports fans, me and Tyler hope you've enjoyed this week's Friday Roundtable. Be sure to follow us on our YouTube channel, Two Guys Talk Sports and Other Things, for more great videos like this. And follow us on Two Guys Talk Sports on Facebook for other content. Huge thanks to my man, Tyler Lavalette, who is pretty much the brains behind this show.
Thank you.
And huge thanks also to the muscle behind the show, Josh, and everybody here at the studio. And with that being said, me and Tyler, we're going to say goodbye for now. We hope you enjoy the baseball this weekend. This is Jake Waxman.
And Tyler Lavalette.
Wishing you all a great weekend. Take care, sports fans.